Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Daily Bullet. I'm Paul Lathrop. Joining me today is a person who, if you've hung out at Gun Rights Policy Conference or anywhere in Florida where there's a Second Amendment thing going on, you're gonna know this guy. Sean Caranna is joining us. He is the what do we want to call it, Sean? Are you the president? Are you the head honcho, chief cook, bottle watcher?
Pretty much chief cook and bottle washer. I'm the executive director and founder of Florida Carry.
Very cool. Well, to get started, and we were talking before we started recording, you and I got our starts just about the same time. What I normally ask people who do these shows and are connected with a state level organization, how did Florida Carry start?
It started of frustration. There were look, Florida has always, people have called us the gunshine state. And we've had a great presence from the NRA doing lobbying here. We were one of the first shall issue concealed carry licenses in the country. So, at the time that we were founded, and we really started kicking around the idea of starting Florida Carry in 2010, and we actually did it in 2011. But a lot of people questioned, well, why does Florida, of all places, need another Second Amendment organization? And the answer was really clear to us who lived here, because we had statewide firearms preemption, but it was unenforceable and universally ignored by local jurisdictions. We also were advocating for the passage of a repeal of the open carry ban, or at least allowing for licensed open carry. And that at the time just really wasn't being supported by NRA. It wasn't in their priorities. So a lot of us came together, and we were concerned that so many important issues, especially with the local gun control that was going on and no real way to stop it, that we needed to step up and shine the light on these issues and see if we could get some legislation passed on our own. We also saw that there was a need in Florida because there wasn't much litigation going on. There weren't many lawsuits being filed in order to vindicate the right to bear arms. And we knew we needed a mechanism, a legal entity, in our case, a nonprofit organization, that would be able to do that type of work. And we got very lucky at the beginning. We had some very pro Second Amendment lawyers who were willing to donate their very valuable time. I obviously, was advocating for this, and I found a lot of very smart people who wound up joining our board of directors and becoming leaders within the organization, who were willing to donate their time. We're an all-volunteer organization.
Mm-hmm.
So everything we've done has been, at the very beginning, it was very ad hoc. It was, hey, here's a problem. Let's talk to each other. Let's coordinate, and let's move forward and get something done. For years prior to the formation of Florida Carry, people would come up, they'd be on the internet, they'd be on a web forum, they'd say, oh yeah, we need to, fix this preemption problem. We need to fix this open carry problem in Florida. We need to fix, this, that, or the other thing with a lack of respect for the Second Amendment in some places of Florida. And people would say, yeah, I want to lead an effort to do that. And I'd say, sure, great. How can I help? And then it would just fizzle out. Nothing would happen. So after a few years of that, I just got tired of waiting for someone else to lead and decided that if there's nobody for me to follow, I'm just going to have to lead myself. And fortunately, like me, there was a lot of other people out there that were just in need of someone to put together the resources and the structure around it so that we could move forward. So while yes, I have the title of executive director of Florida Carry, what that really means is I am that head cook and bottle washer. I keep the lights on. I make sure everything works, and we have and I make sure that we have the right people installed doing the right job in support of the Second Amendment.
So you got started, I believe, 2011, 2012 in there, correct?
Yeah, 2010. First thing I did was I had a open carry fishing event. Fishing while open carrying in Florida is one of the exceptions to the general open carry ban. And you can fish, you can camp, or you can hunt. Well, camping would have required sleeping out in the woods, and I haven't done that since I got out of the Army. Well, I have a couple of times since we formed Florida Carry, because now we have some camping events. But up to that point, I hadn't done it since I got out of the Army. Hunting, well, that was obvious, and not going to get a whole lot of press coverage of a hunter carrying a firearm while hunting. But the fishing thing, people do it, especially when they're way out in the woods. But I brought it to the municipal pier. And, I contacted the local police department and said, hey, I'm going to be doing this. I want to make sure that you understand the law so there's no misunderstandings. They were great. We worked together very well, and it started from there. And I'll tell you, I was very nervous the first time I walked out on a fishing pier with with a handgun in a holster. Openly carrying in Florida, where open carry is generally banned. More than anything, I was afraid that I was going to be the only one there. I had put out some stuff on some web forums saying, "Hey, I'm going to do this on this date. Somebody come please join me." Well, that first day, there was about 5 of us that showed up. Within 2 months, we decided to start doing it every month, and within 2 months, there was 200 people standing on a pier down in Melbourne.
Wow.
So, it obviously showed that there is a lot of support for the Second Amendment in Florida that wasn't necessarily being represented. And that was a powerful message to bring to our legislature. And we almost passed an open carry bill that year. Our first full year of operation, 2011. Mm-hmm. We didn't. It got... The bill got gutted by a floor amendment from a legislator who the very next election we got thrown out. But on the preemption grounds, we got a bill passed that gave us a private right of action, which means that Florida Carry, membership organizations like Florida Carry, can sue local government entities when they violate your right to bear arms by passing laws that they're not allowed to have or having regulations that they're not allowed to have. Mm-hmm. And we've used that law very effectively ever since 2011. Most recently, we beat Broward County. They decided they were going to regulate firearms in a number of ways, including at the airport. It's already illegal under Florida state law to carry in the passenger terminal of an airport. Mm. But they were trying to make it so you couldn't even come and have a gun in your car when you pick somebody up from the airport. They were also trying to impose their will on private pilots. I'm a private pilot. I've flown into Broward County airports while carrying a firearm, and come to find out that had someone noticed I was carrying, they wanted to be able to put me in jail for 60 days. Well, that just wasn't going to stand, so we sued them. The case took a number of years, and we won, and now it's on appeal. They've appealed the decision, so it'll take a number more years.
Sure.
It's amazing. You see these cases that get to the Supreme Court or that get to the courts of appeals, and what you don't always realize is this case has been going on for 5, 6, 7 years sometimes, just to get it to that point before you even hear about it on the news. Mm-hmm. So we have lots of cases ongoing, and we've got a number that have been resolved, obviously, over the past 10 years, and a number that are still ongoing right now.
So let's talk about that a little bit. What challenges is Florida Carry facing right now?
After the Sandy Hook, and then after some of the other incidents here in Florida and outside Florida. They passed a fairly draconian bill with the red flag laws. They call them extreme risk protection orders or risk protection orders here.
Yep.
They also banned the sale of firearms to anyone under 21, so 18 to 21-year-olds cannot buy a rifle anymore in Florida. That's being some of that's being challenged by NRA, some of it's being challenged by us. They also passed a little-known provision of law saying something to the effect of, you won't transfer a firearm until FDLE has done its job. We're a point of contact state for the background check system. We don't go to the FBI. We go to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to get the background checks done. And it was a small provision that said that you won't complete a transfer until the Department of Law Enforcement has completed its process. Well, this process is set in stone. It's set by the statute. And what it says is that, the Department of Law Enforcement has 3 days to conduct this investigation. If the investigation is not determinative, then they have to release the sale. They have to give you what's called a conditional approval number. FDLE decided, we're just going to ignore that law. And now they've come out with a brand new thing that they call decision pending. It's not provided for in law. They made it up themselves. They're preempted from making up their own regulations, but they did it anyway. So we're in court over that. And while we were at it, this has been something that's been bothering us for quite some time. If you have a concealed carry license, or if you're a law enforcement officer, you're exempt from the state fees for purchasing a firearm. Okay, it's $5 for a background check. But when you think about the fact that just since COVID hit, there's been over 1 million gun sales in Florida.
Wow.
And a lot of those people are law enforcement officers, are people that have concealed carry licenses. So we're talking millions and millions of dollars that FDLE is taking from citizens who want to exercise their right to bear arms, and they're doing it illegally. So we sued them to stop that.
Very, very cool. Well, we are coming up on the end of the segment. 2 things before we do go to the end of the segment. I want you to brag a little bit. A good friend of mine is one of your regional directors, Kevin Sona, and he's been doing a camping event, and you've got one coming up in March. I want you to brag on that for a little bit.
And I talked about before Florida Carry, I hadn't camped since I got out of the Army. Well, Kevin's been dragging me out to the woods for a really good time. It is a blast. We go out there. We have Second Amendment advocates from all over the country and all over the state. We have great speakers. It's really, and I think this next year we're going to be combining that with our annual membership meeting, because we have such a bevy of great speakers that come out. It's turned into a real event where we go out, we camp in some beautiful state parks here in Florida. They've got wonderful facilities. They also have pavilions where we can set up audio equipment and really have almost a miniature GRPC type speaking arrangement where people can come out, listen to interesting speakers, with me being the very worst of them. And one of the things that we love to do is have Q&A sessions with all of our speakers, so that our members and even just the interested public can come up and ask questions of the experts that are there. We have pro Second Amendment physicians and doctors. We have attorneys. We have legislators, and we have those of us who just go out there and try to do the right thing for the right to bear arms as best we can every day.
Very
So
cool.
yeah, that's coming up in March, and obviously, anyone who cares about their Second Amendment rights, if you go to floridacarry.org, our website's under a little bit of a redesign right now. A couple more weeks, there'll be a lot more information up there. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. We have information about our events going on there. And as far as the lawsuit against FDLE, I would encourage anyone who has purchased a firearm in the past 4 years, if you have a concealed carry license or or you're a law enforcement officer, or if you've gotten one of these decision pending statuses and they're just leaving you in limbo and not releasing your gun to you, go to fdlelawsuit.com. That will have intake forms, ask questionnaires, and it will get you a retainer agreement to get into the class action lawsuits that we filed there. And of course, there's scary languages about contingency fee agreements. Basically, what that means is not a penny will come out of your pocket. The lawyers only get paid when we win, and Florida Carry is putting up the expenses for everything, all the expenses.
Sure. All right. So last thing, because I don't want to take up all of your day here, but Florida Carry, obviously, it's very important. If you own a firearm and you're in Florida, you need to be a member. And you don't have to be a citizen of Florida to be a member, do you?
No, not at all. We have a number of members from other states, and in fact, a couple from other countries. We have a couple of expats who, one of the problems with Florida's concealed carry license is American citizens who do not reside in America can't get a Florida concealed carry license. Another problem we're working to fix. So we have some overseas expats who are members, and just great guys, and they didn't give up their right to bear arms because they changed their address.
Right.
So yeah, and obviously, Florida's concealed carry license is one of the most popular with people, especially those from the may issue or non-issue states.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we have members. Last I checked, from all 50 states, and I forget how many countries.
Well, if somebody were to be interested in joining, how do they go about becoming a member of Florida Carry?
Easiest way is you just go to floridacarry.org and hit the join button.
Well, very cool. Sean, I want to thank you so much for taking your time on a Sunday to talk with us today, man.
Hey, Paul, it is always great to talk to you. Like you said, we kind of came up together in this wonderful world of Second Amendment advocacy. I remember when we were a very young organization, this upstart podcast called us up and said, "Hey, can you send somebody to be on our show?" And we said, "Sure, we're glad to have somebody help get the word out about us." And you were glad to have a guest.
Absolutely. Early in
How
our
far
show,
have we come, my friend?
yes, absolutely. Early in our show, if we got somebody to say yes, that was happy dance time. So, anyway, Sean, again, thank you for joining us. Folks, we do have to shut this one down. We're coming up on our hard limit of time. But again, if you are at all interested in carry in Florida, you need to be a member of Florida Carry. Head over to their website and join. We're going to set this one aside. We'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the Daily Bullet.